Let me get my hands on that program, let me read it, and let's see what we can do to help move it forward.
Meanwhile, Wayne County Minority Political Action Committee asked Wayne County School Superintendent-elect Ray Brayboy if he would place more emphasis on teaching students, particularly those in the early grades, how to resolve problems and conflicts without resorting to physical violence.
My answer to that is yes, if you will. And if you don't, I'm going to do it anyway. But let me tell you something. The school system is a microcosm of this county, of this community where they come from. They weren't born with boxing gloves on. They learned it from somebody out there. And I've heard the last couple of days about this rift at the middle school in Goldsboro or whatever, the suspended students and all this stuff. But you people are smart. You understand that we have them 5.5, 6.5 hours, and the rest of the time they're in the community.
Dr. Ray Brayboy, Wayne County School Superintendent-elect. The Weather Center forecast is next. For WGBR News, I'm Wayne Alley.
From shiver to sizzle, winter to summer, Phillips 66 Trop Arctic Motor Oil can give you hot-cold protection and everything in between. Inside your car's engine, the temperature can go from winter to scorching summer in minutes. That's the protection Phillips 66 Trop Arctic is engineered for. Just look for Phillips 66 Trop Arctic Motor Oil in the classic gold bottle. Hot-cold protection and everything in between. Available at a Phillips 66 station near you. Phillips 66 products distributed by Griffin Oil Company, 511 South John Street, Goldsboro.
You're searching for the best deal on a program car? Stop the search and head to Leith of Goldsboro today. Leith Chrysler, Plymouth, Jeep Eagle, and Leith Dodge Isuzu has a lot of great deals for you. Leith has reduced the prices and increased the selection of program cars. The Spirits and the Claims are on sale at Leith of Goldsboro, along with the ultimate family vehicle, the Dodge Grand Caravan program, for as little as $249 per month. Leith Chrysler, Plymouth, Jeep Eagle, and Leith Dodge Isuzu, Highway 70 West Goldsboro, tax tag and $138 dock fee or extra. Payments based on 20% down, cash or trade for 60 months at 7.95 APR.
The clouds and showers that moved in briefly overnight made a hasty exit, and we've got a rather pleasant afternoon and evening in store. Our forecast for this afternoon, more sunshine than clouds. It'll be a little on the breezy side, highs today reaching 60 to 65 degrees. Then tonight will be turning partly cloudy. Lows should drop to around 40 to 44 degrees. Then on Tuesday, partly cloudy again. It will be windy and warmer tomorrow, highs reaching 72 to 76. I'm Mike Moss at the Weather Center.
Conversationalists all across the fruited plain. Another week of broadcast excellence is coming right at you. From behind the golden EIB microphone, I sit firmly ensconced. Rush Limbaugh. Happy you're with us, folks. Let's go ahead and get started.
This is a special edition of the Rush Limbaugh program, America Held Hostage. And now, from our studios in New York City, here is Rush Limbaugh.
Counting the days of the raw deal, the Clinton presidency, America held hostage today. Day 419 for the poor and the middle class. Day 438 for the rich and the dead. And 1,043 days left for everybody. We are at 1-800-282-2882 if you would like to be on the program. I don't know where to start today, folks. I have no idea where to start. You know why? Because you don't care about anything. So I'm sitting here as host of the show. I've read the polls. I looked at all the stuff over the weekend. I see that over 50% of you do not trust the president. That's up from... wait a minute. Is it that high? Is it? Or what? There's so many polls, too. Is it 36% don't trust, or is it over 50? No, wait a minute. Is that think he... No, wait. Is it 36% don't trust him and 52% think that he's hiding something on Whitewater? Is that... But that doesn't matter because you don't care. You don't care. After every one of these polls, which shows that an increasing number of people think Hillary is hiding something and they don't trust her, and her negatives have doubled, and you can't trust the president. Of course, the press says that we don't have to trust the president. Why is everybody complaining about that? And then after the polls which show that 50% of the American people think that they're hiding something, may have done something wrong, then there are these stories, and nobody cares. So I'm sitting here as host of the show. Well, if you don't care about it, I got one of two things I can do. I can ignore it or try to make you care. And then if I try to make you care, I'm a zealot. And I've got an agenda. And I'm trying to turn you into mind-numbed robots, trying to get you to follow me along whatever path I think you ought to go to. So I don't know what to do. I am told, I read in the New York Times on Saturday morning that all you care about, as long as there's not a job, a war, and you have a job, you don't give a hoot in hell what's going on 5 years ago, last night, 2 months ago. You don't care. So what am I supposed to do? If you don't care, why don't I just resign? Why don't I just chuck it, just if you don't care? So I'm sitting here somewhat stymied, because there's certainly a lot to care about. There at least ought to be some curiosity, if not deep commitment to concern. There ought to be some curiosity, and if these newspaper stories are accurate, maybe that's what we ought to do. You know, maybe we ought to take a day off from the specifics here. Or maybe a way at getting at the specifics is just asking people to call in and say, do you care? Or do you not care about what? Are you tired of hearing about it? Because let's be honest. Even if you said you're tired of hearing about it, if I'm interested in it, I'm going to talk about it. That's the way I've always done this show. I've never, as you know, moistened my finger and stuck it up in the wind to see which way the wind's blowing and then gone with that. I've always followed my instincts, my passions, my interests, and my desires. So whether you don't care about it or not is irrelevant to whether I talk about it. But I would like to know if you don't care or you do care. You tired of hearing about it? Is it time to move on to the important issues facing the country? Are you tired of the way all this is coming down and impacting negatively on the president and his wife? Why don't we do that? Why don't you give me a, in addition to whatever else that you want to talk about today, because we never do topics here, so I don't want to limit what you want to talk about. Boy, this golden EIB microphone sounds good. But I do think that it would be interesting to hear whether you're tired of hearing about it, whether you care or not, because the news media says you don't, even in conjunction with all of their polls. Here again, the phone number is 800-282-2882. Now, here is an overview. This is the latest that has taken place. Mrs. Clinton decided that she would finally address some of these concerns about Whitewatergate in interviews with Newsweek and Time. She conducted these interviews on Saturday afternoon, which threw the production schedules for both magazines in a tizzy. They both went with it, Time's cover, and I was privy to the stories because I'm a powerful, influential member of the media. And also, as according, did you see this Saturday on C-SPAN, David Wilhelm, Chairman, Democratic National Committee, with his speech at the annual committee meeting. The Democrats had this midterm meeting, whatever they called it. A bunch of people gathered together in Washington. He's listing all these evil Republicans who stink and who themselves are somewhat dubious in their qualifications to level accusations. It throws me in there with D'Amato, Dole, Phil Graham, and who else? D'Amato, Dole, Phil Graham. There's one other he mentioned, and Rush Limbaugh. You're hearing about. And none of the press accounts in the print press put my name in the list, but I was watching. I saw it. So anyway, the marching orders have been given. I find this interesting too. You know, you people are accused of being mind-numbed robots. You are accused of having no mind of your own. You sit out there and you listen to what I say, you take your marching orders, and then you act accordingly. When in fact, if anybody's giving marching orders and people are marching in lockstep, it's the White House giving the orders and everybody on down within the ranks of the Democratic Party following suit. This weekend, the White House gave its lockstep liberals their marching orders, and here are what their marching orders are. 1, no one cares about Whitewater. Everybody that's representing the president or the administration on a Sunday television show or in any kind of interview must say no one cares about Whitewater. They're all saying that. Number 2, whatever Whitewater is and whatever Whitewater was, it happened before Clinton became president, so it doesn't really matter. The third thing that they're all saying is that the Republicans got their special counsel, so what's the beef? The fourth thing they're saying is that the issue's D'Amato, not Clinton. Isn't it interesting that the Republicans have chosen Al D'Amato as their ethics spokesman? And the fifth thing that everybody is saying is the Republicans were desperate for something because Clinton has solved foreign policy. He got the economy going. He's solved health care. He's got the child welfare. He's got whatever it is, family leave, all these things. The greatest first year in any president's first year in the history of the country. All of these good things. And so the Republicans are just upset. Those are the 5 basic ingredients of the marching orders given to spokesmen over the weekend. Now, I would like to analyze these 5 things for you, and then we'll return to Hillary and her interview. Just one little observation about Hillary. Let me do that very quickly since I kind of left that in midstream. One, she kept referring to transactions. Now, we shouldn't have made that transaction. Yeah, it might have been a bad transaction. Yeah, there's a bad transaction here. But note that she was reluctant in these interviews to use the word investment. Do you wonder why that might be? Could it be that this administration's coined the use of the word investment to mean government spending, and no investment is ever bad? It's a little observation. I may be a little bit too paying too much attention here, but I think that it's interesting. Also, all she's talking about is her feelings in these interviews. If you'll notice, how she feels about what they've done, how she feels about how it's been handled, how she feels about what's being reported, how she feels about what they need to do to fix it, how she feels about things. Now, as to these 5 elements of the marching orders, no one cares about Whitewater. And in fact, isn't that how I began this program? According to the press and everybody, you don't care. And can I say this in conjunction with the comparison to Watergate? Don't forget, when Watergate first happened, nobody cared about that either. Have you ever heard of George McGovern losing in a landslide? Watergate was discovered in plenty of time for there have to have been some kind of impact on the election, but there wasn't. Watergate took a long, long time to develop. Everybody thought there was nothing to Watergate. Think back. There was nothing to it. Nixon won in a landslide, for crying out loud. And it was only after he won and the second term took shape that the Watergate scandal began to build. So the fact that no one cares about Whitewater is irrelevant. They like you to think that it's relevant, but it is totally irrelevant in terms of whether or not something happened, whether or not something went on. Number 2, Whitewater happened before Clinton became president. Well, what does this mean? Well, that means there's 2 sets of right and wrong, before president and after president. And if you buy that, why, Clinton could come clean about everything that went on in Arkansas and not be punished for it because it happened before president. It doesn't count. Hillary's failed education plan in Arkansas, that doesn't count. That was before she became first lady. Oh, there's another quote from Hillary in these interviews where she talks about, I guess when you run for office, you give up all claim to privacy. When who runs for office? Mrs. Clinton? She thinks that she ran for office. Or at least she's not distancing herself from her husband who did run for office. What? No care. You don't care anyway, so I'm sorry. No big deal. I'm just a guy who can't handle a woman with power. I'm sorry for even bringing that up. It's a technicality that she didn't run. I'm just beating up on the girl. I'm sorry. Now, if Whitewater happened before Clinton became president, and if, as a result, that is irrelevant, then may I ask this question. What's all the fuss about Ollie North running for the Senate? If he did anything wrong, didn't he do it before he ran for the Senate? But it shouldn't matter using the Clinton rule. Whatever you do before you run for office doesn't count. It doesn't matter. And nobody cares anyway. I guess nobody cares about Ollie North and Iran-Contra, do they? I guess they don't care. Why should we care about Clinton? Number 3, the Republicans got their special counsel. Excuse me, but this is a special counsel appointed by this White House. Janet Reno specifically, Robert Fisk. And let's not mince words here about what the game plan is. The game plan with this special counsel is to get as much of the information sealed as possible, to keep as much of this information as possible from coming out. That's why they don't want hearings. The Clintons know that if you have hearings, it looks like a scandal even if nothing is going on. Think back. Think back to the Iran-Contra hearings. Think back to the Watergate hearings. Think back to any of these hearings. Think back to these confirmation hearings of Clarence Thomas with Anita Hill. Everybody thought, wow, scandal. The Clintons don't want that. Now, what they've gotten so far with the special prosecutor is they've got a pledge from the Republicans in the Senate to hold off on any investigations until at least May, pending his interim report on this one aspect of the whole problem of Roger Altman representing the Resolution Trust Corporation, briefing the White House on various things, the unethical and questionable practice of so doing. Now, the game plan for all this is that if the special prosecutor can look into it and say, hey, no big deal, I didn't find really much here, then there's going to be less of a move for hearings, less reason to have hearings, and believe me, the best thing for the Clintons in any of this is no hearings. And it's, I think, now that I've thought about this over the weekend, I did a lot of thinking about it, I'm a little bit disturbed that the Republicans have gone ahead and acceded to this request for no hearings, because hearings is really what ought to happen. I have done a lot of research, folks, over the weekend, and do you know that during the Reagan and Bush presidencies there were various congressional investigations or hearings on 25 specific allegations of wrongdoing during those administrations? This is according to the Congressional Research Service. 25 separate investigations, and 4 of them occurred during that period of time when Republicans held a majority in the Senate. 25 separate, I'll list them if you want. I've got time here. It's a 3-hour show. Meanwhile, there have been no less than 5 specific instances involving serious allegations of wrongdoing during Clinton's first 400 days, and not a single congressional hearing has been conducted. The Democrats are all saying that the desire for hearings is simply partisan politics. Yet if you go back and look at the Oliver North testimony on the day of the Iran-Contra hearings, you know what you'll find. You'll see George Mitchell sitting in the front row of the inquisitors. I guess that's not partisan politics, though. Don't forget the Democrats tried to criminalize policy. That's what they were all about. They couldn't get these guys at the ballot box. They're trying to turn just maybe stupid policy, maybe bad policy, but they're trying to turn it into criminal activity. It's the whole purpose of those hearings. And I think it's okay for the Republicans to say there's a little quid pro quo here. I think it's very honest to say that, but there's also this need to get the information out. And this special prosecutor, it's obvious, has as his game plan seeing to it that as much of this information is sealed, just like all those files that are under subpoena, as possible. Number 4 of this list, well, I better take a break here. I'm way over time, but we've got 3 of the 5 elements of the marching orders explained and analyzed. There's 2 more to go. Back after this.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
You know, my friends, I've read dozens of comments from satisfied owners of allergy-free electrostatic air filters. You've heard all the claims right here, from cleaner homes to fewer allergy symptoms. Well, a crack EIB staff has interviewed some allergy-free filter owners. Listen to this.
My wife had been sneezing and her sinuses had been draining whenever the AC was on. The first night we installed the allergy-free filter, she noticed a big improvement.
The allergy-free filter is so easy. We just take it out about every 30 days and we flush it out with a water hose. It's great. My husband doesn't mind doing it at all.
After only 24 hours, I can tell the difference. I don't think I will ever regret buying this filter.
My family is amazed at the difference in the air. Even my Sheltie sniffs the air and he notices a difference.
My wife snores less, too.
Okay, folks, what more do you need? Get your credit card ready along with your filter size and call 1-800-ALLERGY. You owe it to yourself and your family. And if you mention the EIB Network, you get 25% off the retail price. Call Allergy Free now, 1-800-ALLERGY.
Imagine having a virtual photographic memory and being able to meet over 100 people and remember all of their names. or have instant recall of virtually everything you see, hear, read, or even think about. This is Kevin Trudeau, founder of the American Memory Institute. As seen on TV, over 2 million people have already benefited from the easy-to-learn Mega Memory Home Study course and released their own instant recall photographic memories. Now, it's your turn. Call 1-800-862-MEGA. That's 1-800-862-MEGA.
You're searching for the best deal on a program car? Stop the search and head to Leith of Goldsboro today. Leith Chrysler Plymouth Jeep Eagle and Leith Dodge Isuzu has a lot of great deals for you. Leith has reduced the prices and increased the selection of program cars. Check out a 93 Dodge Dynasty, only $11,895 or as low as $189 per month. Leith Chrysler Plymouth Jeep Eagle and Leith Dodge Isuzu, Highway 70 West Goldsboro. Tax tag and $138 dock fee or extra. Payments based on 20% down, cash or trade for 60 months at 7.95 APR.
HB Systems at 2902 Central Heights Road in the Brent King Building is Goldsboro's coast-to-coast computer operation with complete business systems, hardware, and software. They offer installations all across the USA. HB Systems offers custom software design and programming, training and support, as well as networking or standalone operations. These systems are custom designed for your business, whether you operate a one-person business or a large business. They know computers. HB Systems, 2902 Central Heights Road, Goldsboro. Call 778-9795.
John is a typical pork producer, making his routine stops around town looking for a good value.
Hey, Alex, how you been?
Good to see you, John. John asked about a volume discount on 6-inch bolts, and the implement dealer says, sorry. He pays, then walks away reminded that it's tough to save even a $50.
Hi, Molly.
Hi, John. What's new?
John needs hinges for his hog gates, but finds none on sale. Once again, he ponders the problem of saving just 2 quarters. Now back at the farm, it's time to mix feed for his healthy finisher pigs, and he uses 10 grams of Thailand feed additive for each ton of feed. Suddenly, a big smile comes to his face as John remembers, for every ton of feed he mixes, he can save 50 cents on Thailand at 10 grams over BMD at 30 grams.
Ask your feed dealer how you can save 50 cents on Thailand feed additive at 10 grams over BMD at 30 grams. Savings may vary according to local product pricing.
Rush Limbaugh, radio talk show host of record, addressing an audience of Americans who don't care. As we kick off another week of broadcast excellence, 1-800-282-2882. You know, you people who read the Limbaugh letter, you who subscribe, the over 450,000 of you are extremely fortunate, because on page 5 of our March issue of the Limbaugh letter, which in some cases is still in the mail on its way to you, but for the most part you should have it. Page 5, we have an entire list of all 25 congressional investigations into administration officials or family members of the Reagan and Bush presidencies from 1981 to 1992. There were 25 of them, and we've got them all right here on page 5. You can see what they are, you can see who they were, and then you can keep in the back of your mind the notion that in the first 400 days of the Clinton presidency, there are 5 serious allegations, and not one of them has been investigated by congressional investigation or committee yet. And I'm going to tell you what those 5 are in just a moment, but I want to go back to the top 5 things that the administration has told its spokesman to say. Number 4, of course, is that D'Amato is really the issue here when it comes to ethics, not Clinton. As you know, it can be exemplified by saying, well, I'm glad the Republicans have chosen Al D'Amato to be their ethics spokesman. If D'Amato is as low on the food chain as the liberals suggest, then how is it? How do they feel about Senator D'Amato having the high ground with Clinton? Because let's face it, he does. I mean, if you have an ethics runoff here, if you have an image comparison, if you do an A/B, a side-by-side of character and integrity, you got to put D'Amato way ahead of Clinton, in my mind. And the 5th, of course, is that why are the Republicans doing all this? They're desperate for something is the answer, because Clinton has solved foreign policy. He got the economy going, health care, family leave, all this wonderful stuff. Well, excuse me, but solved foreign policy? Do we even have a foreign policy? How can he say he solved it? Solved health care? The Democrats oppose it. Most Democrats oppose the Clinton health care plan. Clinton has created jobs. The economy is rolling. We've all been advised of the vulnerability of this administration. In fact, go to the front page of the New York Times today. Rebound in interest rates may hinder the recovery. It's a see I told you so that's as good as any that I've ever been able to bring to you on this show, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring it to you. I would do it right now, except for this one little problem called we're out of time. But we'll have more time in about 3.5 minutes. Hi, this is Rush Limbaugh. When you speak, people listen. And the words you use tell them about your education, your background, even your intelligence. Verbal Advantage, Achievement Dynamics' powerful vocabulary building course on audio cassette tape gives you the words you need to make your best impression. Carefully chosen power words that will give your vocabulary confidence in any situation. To learn more, call now, 1-800-28-TAPES. That's 1-800-28-TAPES.
This is WGBR News, Goldsboro's very own.
This is Wayne Alley. State Senator John Carr thinks when the present Wayne County Jail is vacated by the opening of the new county jail, that the old jail would be perfect for a regional detention center for convicted technical violators who are eligible to be back in the community. The senator views this as a potential medium or minimum security facility that would keep probation and parole violators in the community.
The present Wayne County jail would be a type of facility which would be, medium or minimum security, which I think would be perfect for a regional detention center to try to divert some of these parole and probation technical violators to keep them in the community so they could perhaps be out during the day working, be there at night, and to give them one more chance before you send them back to the big house.
State Senator John Carr. The Wayne County Minority Political Action Committee asked Wayne County School Superintendent-elect Ray Brayboy if he would place more emphasis on teaching students, particularly those in the early grades, how to resolve problems and conflicts without resorting to physical violence.
My answer to that is yes, if you will. And if you don't, I'm going to do it anyway. But let me tell you something. The school system is a microcosm of this county, of this community where they come from. They weren't born with boxing gloves on. They learned it from somebody out there. And I've heard the last couple of days about this rift at the middle school in Goldsboro or whatever, the suspended students and all this stuff. But you people are smart. You understand that we have them 5.5, 6.5 hours, and the rest of the time they're in the community. So I'm going to put it right. I'll answer yes, unequivocally, while we've got them. I'm going to turn it back on you all now and say, you all got to help me.
Dr. Ray Brayboy, Wayne County School Superintendent-elect. The Small Business Center of Wayne Community College has helped Jackson Hewitt Tax Service create 10 new jobs locally. It all started when Drew Moore planned to open Jackson Hewitt Tax Service in Goldsboro. Moore contacted the Small Business Center to explore options for specialized training, and Harry Overby, the director of the center, made arrangements for Moore to instruct a class in income tax preparation, focusing on thorough knowledge of state and federal tax code. Moore said they got the business started just in time for this year's tax season and have already exceeded Jackson Hewitt's projections. I'm Wayne Alley.
We've got a nice, mild Monday afternoon underway, but it gets even better tomorrow as southwesterly winds bring in spring-like temperatures ahead of our next cold front. The forecast for this afternoon, more sunshine than clouds, will be a little on the breezy side, highs reaching 60 to 65, then turning partly cloudy overnight. Lows should drop to around 40 to 44 degrees. And for Tuesday, partly cloudy, windy, and warm. Highs tomorrow warming to 72 to 76. I'm Mike Moss at the Weather Center. WGBR.
In relentless pursuit of the truth. We're going to forge on with that even though you don't care. It's the Excellence in Broadcasting Network, our phone number, and we're going to go to the phones here quickly, 800-282-2882. Right here it is. Rebound in interest rates may hinder the recovery. What have I been saying? This is another classic, see, I told you so. I've been saying for the longest times that the administration's building up their entire foundation of economic recovery and sustaining that recovery on low interest rates, making it easier for people to go in debt, refinance their mortgage, buy a car, buy a new washer and dryer, buy things because it's going to cost less to get money to finance it. And I said also that one of the reasons the deficit's down so much is because they're financing it with short-term or low interest rates, and that's making it cheaper to finance the debt that is the deficit. And so when these interest rates that are low and these long short-term bonds expire, you're going to have to refinance the deficit, and interest rates may be higher. I made $1 million bet with the Democrats, and interest rates would be a lot higher by 1995 than they were when Clinton took office. This is one of many elements of my bet that they refused to accept. And the simple fact of the matter is that once you have to start refinancing that debt at higher interest rates, the deficit is going to balloon right back up, because the real reason the deficit exists, spending, has not been dealt with in any way, shape, manner, form. So, here's the New York Times, and listen to this paragraph. Low interest rates had been the cornerstone of the Clinton administration's strategy to strengthen the economy and drive up employment. And while no one had expected rates to remain as low as they had been last October, neither had most people expected the rise to be so quick and so strong. On Friday, the yield on the 30-year bond neared 7%. And the rates for other loans lasting 2 years or more have risen in tandem. Couple that with this story. Joblessness still a big worry. The president is in Detroit today, a meeting of the G7 ministers of economics, the 7 leading economies of the Western world, big 2-day seminar in Detroit, and it's a jobs conference. And what these people ought to have it drummed into their heads is that your taxes lose jobs. Somebody, if you're a protester, you want to go protest this thing, just make a sign: high taxes cause fewer jobs. That's all these guys need to hear. High taxes reduce employment. And I've been on this for the past couple of weeks. The economic news that's been reported is not all that hot. It's not all that good. It's precariously balanced, that nobody is getting wage increases, that nobody is really being hired in full-time jobs and so forth, while they're sitting out there and taking credit for a good economy. Now, you might say to me, well, Rush, what's the difference in that and the Bush years? And I would say to you, nothing. That's been my point all along. There is no difference. The only difference here is, you remember how mad you got when Bush didn't realize there was a recession? And that was the real reason. That, coupled with his tax promise that he reneged on, those are the two real reasons you wanted to can him, because you didn't think that he knew your plight. He didn't know how hard it was for you to live. Well, what do you think now? You got a situation where nobody's getting raises, where the jobs that are being created are basically government jobs, not private sector jobs, that people in the peak earning years of their lives are the ones losing jobs. And you got a president out there talking about what a great, robust economic recovery he's brought us. Now, where's the anger? Especially when I see, like I saw Saturday in the New York Times, when I see that the American people basically can be summed up this way: as long as there's no war, and as long as I got a job, I don't care what the guy is doing. Well, where's this good economy that everybody thinks that he's brought us? I mean, it's not there. I tell you what, folks, these interest rates going up, hello, mortgage rates going up, hello, financing rates of any kind going up, and it was predicted that this was going to happen. What's the difference in this and Bush? Why were you mad then and you're not now? Well, you will be, is my prediction. All right, let's go to the phones. As I promised, we'll start in Louisville, Kentucky. This is Ingrid. Hi, Ingrid. Welcome to the Rush Limbaugh program.
Hi, Rush. Mega ditto.
Thank you.
I'm honored to be talking to you.
Well, thanks very much.
I just want to let you know that I care about Whitewater and want to keep hearing about it.
Why do you care?
Why?
Tell me why you care. Yeah, seriously. Not trying to challenge you. I just want to know what is the reason for your curiosity?
because I do think it's important, and I'm tired of seeing a double standard between the way a Democrat is treated than a Republican. You bring up a lot of instances, like talking about Ollie North and everything and the way that they treat people, and I think it should happen to Clinton just like would have happened to a Republican if he had been in office.
Well, but what about the notion that the Clintons really, they're trying to do so much good for a country, and they have so much concern and compassion, and their intentions are so honorable. Why their work is so important? They're doing the Lord's work. Why should we bog them down with these kinds of things that happened so many years ago that are really irrelevant?
Well, first of all, because I don't buy it. I don't buy that. And
You don't buy that they're doing the Lord's work?
No, I don't. I don't. And I just don't buy it, and I think that it's important and it's something that should be investigated. There's no reason why we should just sweep it under the rug and act like it never happened.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. Well, I really am, because I'm under the impression that people don't care. The news media is telling me...
Well, no one called my house and asked me, I can tell you that.
Okay.
And also, I wanted to just get a quick reaction from you on the way Cutler reacted yesterday on David Brinkley to McDougal's interview.
Oh, McDougal. That wasn't McDougal. That was Lex Luthor. Did you? I could not believe...
Well, his head was kind of stuck to the back of his chair, but...
It looked like that they had put him in a bed that was then made to look like a big leather wingback, and then they put the camera on the ceiling.
It was amusing.
And shot that he did. I mean, did it not look like that he was glued to that thing?
Yes, it
And I thought he's wearing that bald wig again, because he's probably, I think that what he's trying to do is disguise himself. So, because Arkansas, small state, Little Rock, small town, wherever he was, he puts on that bald wig and goes on TV, but he puts on his real hair, when he goes out, so he's not bugged when he goes out in public, goes to the SNL or whatever.
Well, you can probably fool the people of Arkansas, but...
Really, I thought I was watching Gene Hackman. I thought Superman had interrupted the movie. I kept waiting for Ned Beatty to go, "Hey, Mr. Luthor, Mr. Luthor." But you're right. Here's what she's talking about. After McDougal's interview, the first thing Cutler said was, "I can't believe that you would do what you've just done. I can't believe that you would put on a man with such allegations and not have somebody here to respond to those allegations specifically. A newspaper would never do it." So what newspapers does he know to read? A newspaper would never do. And I said, I was watching with somebody. I said, this is brilliant. Look at what they're doing. Because with Donaldson there, all you got to do is attack the media, and there goes the show. He'll spend the rest of the show defending the media and explaining how the media does what it does. So he got him off subject.
Well, the funny thing was, too, is that Sam Donaldson was doing... George Will wasn't really the one attacking. It was mostly Sam Donaldson, I thought.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, Cutler's there. Cutler is there just to defend his client, so to speak. And look, I don't blame him for doing it. It was a good diversionary tactic. It was. Other than Lloyd Cutler, you would say, gee, this is a very naive complaint to have, that the news media is doing something that may not be balanced or fair, as though that's odd. But his answer was, you got to get their personal lawyer here to analyze these things. And Donaldson said, well, why are you here, Mr. Cutler? I mean, we called the White House, and they said they're going to send you over. Not that we don't enjoy having you, of course, but that's what Brinkley said. Brinkley was cool. Brinkley he was just cool as he could be and always is. But I thought that was, I sat there and I just slapped my knee and I said, this is good.
Yeah, it was amusing.
Because I don't know how long that took, but it took, there's not a whole lot of time on these shows, and it gave Cutler an additional 2 to 3 minutes he didn't have to spend talking about the reason he was there.
Right, he didn't have to answer any
Instead, he talked about how unfair the media is, and, of course, they always respond. When you accuse them of that, they come right back at you and explain. They get into a little classroom lecture on why they do what they do and how they do it. I thought it was pretty good. Anyway, I'm glad you called, Ingrid. Thanks much. We'll talk to some more Americans and find out how apathetic they are or how interested they are right after this.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
Oh, goody. Get to tell you about Florida citrus again. Do you know there have been over 500 studies, including 100 studies alone about vitamin C, that point to the helpfulness of citrus? The vitamins and minerals found in Florida orange juice can play an important role in maintaining good health. But you probably think you know that. Researchers at the National Cancer Institute have long maintained that a diet rich in vitamin C can help prevent certain cancers. I bet you may not have known that. Other studies specifically talk to vitamin C's health benefits regarding heart disease and other serious ailments right down to the common cold, and you probably heard about that. Now, my good friends at the Florida Department of Citrus tell me that our bodies absorb 35% more vitamin C from citrus fruits than from supplements. I'll bet you didn't know that. Now, here's what I'm getting at. 1 6-ounce glass of Florida orange juice is usually enough to satisfy the U.S. recommended daily allowance of vitamin C. But you know how we at the EIB Network, including all of you people, feel about the government's RDA. You need much more. Florida orange juice. You can't beat it.
Hi, folks. I see you've been eyeing that car. Sharp looking, ain't it?
Yeah, we really like it. How much does it run?
Well, you know you'll get the best deal in town right here. Why don't you and the missus take a test drive, see what you think?
Thanks, but we've driven one before.
Now, why worry your little self about the price? Did I tell you about the fuzzy dice? They come free with every new automobile we sell. Just think how good they look in this baby.
That's nice, but we really just want to find out the price.
Well, I'd have to talk to my manager, figure up your rebate.
Can't you just give us a price without a lot of hassle?
If that's what you want, why don't you go on over to Courtesy Buick in Goldsboro?
Where's that?
Courtesy in Goldsboro. They do that no-hassle price stuff every day.
Thanks.
Great, let's go there.
At Courtesy Buick GMC in Goldsboro, you don't have to fight to find out a car's price. It's marked right up front on every Buick, GMC, and Honda on the lot. No dickering, no negotiating, no hassle. It's the better, easier way of buying a car. At Courtesy Buick GMC in Goldsboro, your no-hassle dealer.
Come back. I didn't get to tell you about our special deals for National Peanut Month.
If you're a self-employed or small business owner, then grab a pencil and write this number down. 1-800-331-NASE. You'll be calling the National Association for the Self-Employed. NASE is one of the largest group associations in the U.S. Here are just some of the benefits you'll enjoy as a member. A true voice in Washington, travel benefits, free small business consultancy, and up to 45% off computers and software. Now, there are many more benefits, but the most popular one is the NASE-endorsed health insurance, underwritten by PFL Life Insurance Company. You'll receive your choice of doctors and hospitals anywhere in the world. You can't be singled out for rate increases or cancellations. For more information from the field services of the National Association for the Self-Employed, call 1-800-331-NASE. That number again is 1-800-331-NASE. Join the group that's looking out for you, the National Association for the Self-Employed. The number to call right now is 1-800-331-NASE.
Your ever diligent doctor of democracy, foiler of fraud, and disposer of deceit, Rush Limbaugh, reminding you that truth never rests. Yeah, I just was waiting. I'm watching This Week with Brinkley, and you got old Lex Luthor there. And I keep waiting for Ned Beatty to come up and say, Mr. Luthor, should I continue to shred more documents? It was one of the funniest things I think I've seen. I wonder, is there something wrong with the guy? You know, and I think I'm looking at Donaldson, because Donaldson has that impersonation. Donaldson is suppressing a smile here, trying hard not to chuckle. And it was just, I tell you, it was this is all an amazing thing. It's and there's so much, you know, contrary to people not caring and people thinking that it's much ado about nothing. I think there is so much here. I mean, there is so much tied in. You've got, like, let me go through these 5 scandals just for a second that have occurred in the first 400 days of this administration that have not been investigated. And don't forget, as we point out to you on page 5, and I have it right here, page 5 of the Limbaugh letter, March issue, we chronicle all 25 congressional investigations of so-called appearances of impropriety that occurred during the Bush and Reagan presidencies, all the way from the October surprise, which was nothing. In fact, George Mitchell said that what we have to do, because these allegations are so serious, we've got to have an investigation here to find out that nothing did happen. The fact that there was no evidence was the reason we had to investigate. Well, let's use the same logic here. We've got a lot more than no evidence. We have a real need to clear the air. Isn't there a need to clear the air here one way or the other? It's like the New Republic says. And that's not a conservative journal, folks. A New Republic is a liberal journal of opinion. I have the March 28th issue here, and it is their lead editorial. It's called Speak Hillary, and listen to this. The Clintons' behavior may simply be the result of an irrational inclination to secrecy, or foolishly zealous lawyering, or staff incompetence, but maybe not. Sometimes guilty behavior is the product of guilt. We won't know until the facts come out. Is there not a need for disclosure? Is there not a need here to clear the air? Don't these polls indicate that there is a sufficient amount of distrust, a sufficient amount of suspicion? Isn't it for the good of moving forward